Sure. So they are predominantly, I don't want to call them the same things, but they really are very similar to each other. GDPR is the European version of what POPPIA is. And essentially, it's the laws around how to treat personal information that you come into contact with. Personal information, for example, could be a name, an email address, a physical address that your client has given to you. It is their personal information. And both acts, well, one is an act, one is a regulation, center around what you can do with that information, who you can share it with, and what you can collect, who you can share it with, and what you can do with that information. So the GDPR differs to POPPIA in that it applies to European citizens regardless of where they are situated around the world. POPPIA is different in that it can't apply to a South African citizen if a European company collects that information and they're not based in South Africa. So if you are based in South Africa and you collect any European citizen's information in South Africa, you are still required to comply with GDPR. The main things you need to have in place are, number one, mostly in terms of POPPIA, you need to register an information officer. Every single entity has to do it. The funny thing is we don't have a government portal at this particular point in time that works. So although you are meant to register, it's not working. In addition to that, you will need either a privacy policy through your website, which sets out the consent mechanism to obtain personal information, saying, well, you consent to us collecting your name, your email address, your physical address. You also consent to us sharing it with these people, and you also consent to us using it in this fashion. And that needs to be done whether it's a website privacy policy or a separate POPPIA policy, which is hosted separate to your website, that needs to be put in place. If you've got a workforce, I would also suggest putting in internal workplace policies, which set out, for example, if there is a breach and people have unauthorized access to the personal information, what to do. Binding employees to treat the personal information in accordance with the policies that you've had your clients agree to or consent to. So yeah, those aspects are very, very important. And a lot of people think that, well, I'm just a small company, I shouldn't need to become POPPIA compliant. But the reality is, just by virtue of knowing the names of your customers, that is effectively processing personal information, and that is the trigger to you having to have a consent mechanism in place to comply with POPPIA and GDPR.